lift off the ground as soon as possible because the runway is short, or to lift off quickly enough to clear a 50-foot obstacle at the departure end of the runway. Keep it simple. When you summarize this, you're going to repeat the same as you introduced. So to wrap it up, students, we're going to be wrapping it up by saying again that a short-field takeoff and a maximum performance climb, as the name implies, it is a maximum performance operation that does require the proper procedure and technique of us as pilots to lift off the ground as soon as possible because the runway is short or because we have an obstacle over the possible. Any questions? That's it. That's how you. This way you enforce the introduction and the summary of the same, so the student has. Oh, you talk about common errors, practical test standards. I completely forgot what we're talking about. Okay? Eye contact. I want to note. I notice you focus too much at him, like I'm not even here. So when you have 2 students, 3 students, like wipers. Thank you. Well, I'm an instructor now, but I got 3 students, 2 students. I can't just focus on one. I got somebody else that needs attention. So, keep, and if you ever introduce this to a classroom with 40 people, you're going to have to talk to all the class. It's more professional. Instead of focus. Like, in a classroom, the teacher looks at you and says, what do you want from me? Look somewhere else. Same thing. You don't want him to, be like, leave me alone. What do you want from me?
I thought of you as like invisible.
You're gonna have more. I mean, with the inspector, more than likely you're gonna have him only. That's okay. But here it's a classroom, so you keep everybody. Keep it simple, stupid, and short and concise. I like that. The airplane was very confusing. I don't think you really knew what airplane you're teaching before you started it. So you started with, I'm like, what airplane are we talking about here? Piper, Cessna, like what's going on here? So
What do you mean? Like, how kind of read the class?
put on the board.
Uh-huh.
Piper Cherokee, Cessna Skyhawk. This way we know what airplane. Because every airplane, as you can see, everything different. The manufacturer. On this airplane, the manufacturer says 25. On the Cessna says 0. On the Cougar says 10. I don't know, whatever. Refer to the manufacturer of the aircraft. And put that aircraft tight on the board. So the student knows this is what we're talking about. Because it was a little confusing. What airplane are we talking about? Oh, Cougar, Cessna. Too confusing. Keep it simple. And I highly recommend stick with a Cessna or Papa Cherokee, Archer, Warrior, whatever. Something that's easy. Like this, No special procedure and special complication. Because you will see that 99.5% of your students will start on this single engine system. Anything else is just beyond financial reach. I like the wind correction, and I put an ad, put a check mark on it, because this is very common for instructors to neglect. And as you can see, calculate, determine if crosswind component is above your abilities for that aircraft capability. Ascertain wind direction with or without visible wind direction indicator. So very important. So you mentioned the wind, which which I really like. Because I've seen that getting neglected. Now, it doesn't show confidence when you have, which I believe. You want to be firm. You want to know your stuff. Because you go out there with a lesson, you tell your student, which I believe we're not going to make it, it's going to freak them out. You don't want to say which I believe. You want to be firm. You want to know your stuff. You really want to show confidence. I know what I'm doing. I'm your mentor. I don't believe. I know it. This is it. Right? It's important stuff, isn't it? Okay. You mentioned something about clear obstacle flaps up initially on the presentation. I wasn't sure if you meant clear obstacle, pitch for VY, then flaps up, or just clear obstacle VX and then immediately retract the flaps. But I did mention that you say clear of the obstacle, flaps up. That's not the correct procedure. Because when you look at your practical test standards, it says this is normal. We're going to go to short field. Normal crossing. Short field. It says, establish pitch attitude, maintain recommended obstacle clearance VX, plus 10 minus 5 until obstacle is cleared or until airplane is 50 feet above surface. After clearing obstacle, establish the pitch attitude for VY. Number 8. Number 9, retract landing gear if appropriate, which you don't have, and flaps after clear of any obstacle as recommended by manufacturer. So, to keep it simple, you can say after obstacle is clear, we're going to pitch for VY and retract the flaps as recommended by the POH. And mention that as recommended by the POH. That's going to show the inspector I refer to the manufacturer, which is the POH. That's your Bible. Every airplane has a POH, you go by the POH. I put no book, no prep, and I believe. I think you missed something and you didn't have it, so that's why I put, I think, the PTS. Okay, PTS, that's it. I put no book, no prep. Have the PTS. I mean, look, he was prepared. He has the book. He came to a lesson, he had it. The student has the book. The instructor has no book. Not good. The instructor is the one that's setting the guidelines. The student, not the student, setting the guidelines to the instructor. Okay? So, watch out for that. I'm not sure, not good. There was a question that I don't know why I put it. Maybe you were asking a question and you wasn't sure about it.
Yeah, I think you asked me a question about PPAs. Maybe that. Was it, you asked me like 2 or 3 questions. I was thinking, oh, it was the high altitude, density altitude, full power.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Better off? The inspector comes up with something like that? I don't know. Let me research. Let me get back to you. I don't know, but I know where to look it up. They immediately, they like your honesty. You don't know, but you know where to look it up. After lunch, after the check ride, whatever, come up with a piece of paper. I did the research. There it is. You don't need it.
Because I'm actually curious to know myself where you would actually look up full power, high density altitude.
certificate data sheet. Every airplane has type certificate data sheet that will give you the minimum static RPM in the car. Static RPM. And if you look at the POH, I believe it has what you're looking for on the procedure itself. Takeoff. What kind of RPM you're looking for? I mean, it's not here, but if you look carefully, it will tell you the minimum RPM. And on the practical test standards, short, position flight control, since performance charts include good pilot technique, short for takeoff proficiency, existing temperatures are not attempting to short for takeoff, performance of your fuel weight. So even here they refer to it. I have the list on the board, and I think this is the PPS and the common errors. If you have it on the board, that's good. For next one, what I recommend is take the PPS and put it on a piece of cardboard, roll it, put it on the board. It's going to be much more organized and show, you know. This is kind of skinny, you know. Needs a double burger in it or something to make it a little bit more like, you know, feed that board with more stuff. It's too little over there. Got a big board with one little runway.
So are you saying I should do something like this on the board?
No, this is your lesson plan. This is your lesson plan. Should be here. But completion standards, common errors on the board. Or have a little cardboard with where it's at.
Completion standards and
Completion standards and common errors. Completion standards right there. Common errors are reverse of these. Common errors, I put read and do, or you said common errors read and do. It's actually common errors are failure to do. Failure to maintain coordinated flight control. Failure to maintain VY as appropriate. Failure to advance the throttle as necessary. Blah, blah, blah. Another note I put, you were kind of lost after you were done with the maneuver, which shows to me that you didn't really prepare to present the maneuver properly, because you put, what else? Or you said, what else? It's like you didn't really know what else. So, try to expand on the maneuver and you know, spread it out. 8 minutes is too short. Shoot for 15 minutes. Shoot for 15 minutes. Okay, full power on the green. How much? How do we know which full power? We mention it by the type certificate data sheet, which actually shows every airplane what's the minimum static RPM. I put a lot of right rudder. How much? Every time you say right rudder, as much right rudder as necessary to maintain coordinated flight control. Most times. speed and the POA. Make sure you know what it means. And liftoff speed also. To explain, simple, this is our airplane. Liftoff speed is the speed we're lifting off. Actually departing. The landing gear is departing the pavement. That's liftoff. Barrier speed is the speed at crossing the barrier. It does change depending on your weight, depending on your density altitude, depending on and that's in the field. That speed at clearing the obstacle. The barrier is the obstacle and the clearing the obstacle.
Speed at the barrier.
Speed at the barrier. Yeah, speed at the barrier. That's what I got. Overall, not bad for the first shot. Could be worse. I've seen people stumble and like freeze out. I can't do this. Yeah, I can't do this. Not today. Let's push for another one. Let's be kind of It's not just, students. You have to be able to teach. It's important. Going out there and teaching somebody else, so you gotta be really.
Okay. I was going to show you, this is just one of those things we did.
Departure stall, checklist, challenge response, take a checklist after emergency. This is what maneuver. Departure stall, checklist, numeric, dog, flight camera action, flow free maneuver. 93, clearing turn below 100 knots, 80 knots, 20 inch until first indication recovery full power lower than noise. Okay.
Is that something you want on
Yeah. But not the maneuver as much as the completion standards and the common errors. The maneuver you're gonna talk through. And then when you talk through, don't be shy, Okay, we're gonna proceed with the pre-takeoff checklist. We're gonna taxi the airplane into position, into the runway. Okay, we're gonna line up with runway center line. We're gonna use maximum available runway, nothing behind. We're gonna hold the brakes. Don't be shy. We're gonna hold the brakes, slowly advancing the throttle all the way to max power. We're gonna look at the RPM, make sure we're getting static RPM. On the green, all the instruments on the green. If there's any wind, we're gonna position the yoke into the wind. Initially a lot. As we're accelerating through the takeoff wall, we're gonna reduce. And then blah, blah, blah. Talk through the maneuver like you're actually sitting in a plane and you don't think. Ready to wrap it up? Or anything else you want to add? I wanted to keep it short. I don't want to, because of you see a lot of potholes on the